I welcome you into this quiet hour. I welcome you as light fades and the world slows. I invite a soft hush. I invite a gentle stillness. Breathe with me now. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. Each breath shapes the moment. Each breath asks the body to rest. Allow the shoulders to drop. Allow the jaw to soften. Let the day loosen its grip. I ask you to find a comfortable place. Sit or lie down. Pull a blanket up to the chin if that feels right. Let the room be dim. A single lamp or candle is enough. Let the light be soft. Let shadows lie around the edges. The darkness does not threaten here. It frames the small light we hold together. I place a Bible on my lap. The cover feels familiar under my hand. I feel the slight give of the pages. I touch the spine and remember hundreds of nights like this. The book does not demand anything. It offers presence. It offers words that steady the heart. Tonight I read slowly. I read gently. I allow space between sentences. I allow quiet to breathe with the words. The pace is unhurried. The tone is tender. I want the sound of the reading to be a companion for sleep and for waking thoughts that need healing. The theme for this evening is clear and simple. Let God's word shine through the darkness. Darkness can be many things. It can be the night that falls outside the window. It can be the tiredness that settles in the bones. It can be the worry that keeps the mind turning. It can be memories that still ache. The Word of God meets all of that. It does not erase the night. It puts a lamp by the path. I speak this as one who comes to these pages again and again. I remember nights when fear felt loud. I remember nights when hope felt thin. I remember a gentle word, a phrase, a promise that came like a small lantern. That lantern led me one step at a time. I carry that memory into this room now. I pass the light on through my voice. I will not teach tonight. I will not argue. I will not explain doctrine. I am here to read, to reflect, to invite rest. The words will stand on their own. Mercy will speak through them. Hope will settle in the pauses. If the mind wanders, that is all right. Let it wander like a bird flying between branches. Bring it back without force. The practice is gentle. The heart learns to return. I begin with a short reflection to set the scene. Picture a path in the dark. The path winds through a quiet field. The sky above holds a few steady stars. A lamp waits in your hand. The light is small but steady. It shows one step at a time. You do not have to see the whole road. You only need the next step. The Word of God works like that lamp. It brightens the immediate way. It calms the fear of the unknown. Listen now as I read words that speak of guidance. The voice in the text speaks of a lamp for the feet and light for the path. It says that when night closes in, there is a steady beam. It assures that even in darkest hours, a gentle glow shows the way forward. Allow those images to rest against your heart. Imagine the light on the ground, the light on the leaves, the light on the hands that hold it. Some nights bring heavy questions. Some nights ask for forgiveness. Some nights beg for rest. The pages hold space for all of that. Mercy finds room in these words. Grace stretches out like a soft blanket. Hope hums like a quiet tune. I will read another passage that speaks of watching. It pictures a shepherd who keeps vigil. The shepherd does not sleep through the night. The shepherd stays near the flock. The presence is steady and faithful. Rest does not come from ignoring danger. Rest comes from trust that someone keeps watch. Let the image sink in. Feel the assurance that you are watched by steady care. Breathe in the promise of that presence. Breathe out the tension that tightens the chest. Trust is a slow building inside. It does not hurry. It grows like a seed in quiet soil. Tonight, let that seed lie under the surface. Do not force it. Give it room. I will also read a text that gives comfort in sorrow. It does not dismiss tears. It names them. It speaks of close company in grief. It offers gentleness where pain has been sharp. When sorrow comes, words can rest like a hand on the shoulder. They say you are not alone. Allow the hand of those words to rest on your brow. As I read, let your posture soften. Let your fists unclench. If the mind brings a list of tasks, let them wait. If the heart carries a worry, set it beside you on the nightstand. If it insists on visiting, allow it a seat, but do not give it the whole night. The pages will keep company with it. The way I read tonight is like a slow walk. Each sentence is a step. Each pause is a place to look around. Sometimes I will wait longer between lines. Sometimes I will let silence hold the next phrase. That silence is a part of the reading. It is an invitation to listen inward. Do not feel the need to analyze. Do not reach for clever answers. Let the words wash over you like a warm rain on a tired field. Allow them to settle into furrows. Let the goodness of the language moisturize the dry places. Let the cadence of the reading match the rhythm of breathing. If sleep comes early, that is welcome. The reading will continue gently, even as breath slows. If wakefulness remains, the steady phrases will keep company. Either way, the goal is the same: rest, assurance, mercy, hope. You might wonder what to hold in your hands. Some cradle a mug with warm tea. Some press a small stone or a rosary or a comfort bead. Some fold their hands and breathe. Whatever helps the body relax is good. The presence of an object anchors the moment. The Bible sits open in front of me like a window. I look in. I read softly. I will move through several short passages tonight. Each one is like a lamp placed at intervals along the road. One lights the next. One rests in the silence, and then another comes between readings. I leave time for reflection. I leave time for prayer that is simple and short. The prayer will not be elaborate. It will be a few quiet words offered in the hush. The words will ask for mercy, for rest, for healing. They will be a folding of the heart into the care that these pages describe. I invite you to follow the rhythm. When I read, breathe with the lines. When I pause, listen to the space. When I pray, let your own whisper rise if it wishes. You do not have to say anything out loud. A thought, a breath, a name held quietly is enough. The night outside may hold sounds. A distant cœur, the rustle of leaves, the hush of a neighbor's window closing. Let those sounds be part of the background. They do not break the circle we form with the words. The earth continues its turning. The word continues its work. You may feel a need for forgiveness. The pages I read will not weigh down that need. They will lift it with gentleness. A simple line will remind you that grace meets the fragile. Mercy arrives where mistakes have settled. Hope waits where shame has been loud. If anger sits up like a sentinel, let the reading walk toward it slowly. Do not shove it away. Greet it with patience. Name it in the silence. The text will hold it without judgment. It will allow transformation to occur at its own pace. As I read, I sometimes slow to allow the tender parts to sink in. I sometimes stay quiet longer so that a single phrase can become a refuge. The sound of my voice is soft. The tone is low. It is not meant to stir the mind into activity. It is meant to soothe. This evening is part of a longer journey. There will be more nights like this. Each one will open into the next. Each one will place more lamps along the path. If tonight only a single spark kindles in the heart, that spark is enough. A single light can guide a step. One small moment of peace can become a pattern. Now I prepare to read the first passage in full. I close my eyes for a heartbeat and breathe. I allow the room to settle. I set my hand flat on the page. My finger marks the start. The lamp by my side glows steady. The book is quiet, ready to speak. Listen for the words. Let them find room inside the chest. Let them rearrange the tangled thoughts into a softer pattern. Let the light they offer fall across the face like a blessing. When the reading begins, hold nothing back and hold nothing too tight. Receive what comes. When this part of the evening ends, there will be a soft sigh and a brief pause. I will then continue to the next passage. For now, breathe and let the coming words begin to work. I open the Bible and begin. The room holds its breath. The lamp throws an amber pool on the table. I let my finger rest on the page and begin to read in a low, even voice. The words are not rushed. They fall like small stones into still water. Each one makes a circle that widens and then calms. A passage opens with an image of a path. It speaks of a lamp placed at the feet. The light is steady. It does not try to flood the whole road. It shows the next step and the next. That is enough tonight. The mind can let go of seeing every turn. Only the step at hand matters. Let that truth sit like a small stone in the palm of the heart. I pause and let the silence hold the echo. The breath slows. The body listens. Picture the light as a small flame cupped in both hands. It warms without burning. It shows the texture of the earth. It finds the small stones and the soft grass. The path ahead becomes gentle in the mind's eye. Another passage speaks of watching. A guardian stays awake through the long night. The care is quiet and constant. There is no loud declaration. Only presence. That presence is not distant. It stands near, keeping watch. Let the comfort of that nearness sink into the shoulders. Let the muscles that hold worry begin to unbind. The reading moves on to words that name sorrow. The text does not hurry past grief. It touches the tear that falls. It knows the weight of days that seem too heavy to carry. The language rests on the ache. It does not demand quick repair. Instead, it offers company. Imagine a hand laid softly on the brow. The touch does not erase the pain. It acknowledges it. That acknowledgement brings a slowing, a softening, a permission to breathe through the hurt. I breathe with the rhythm of the sentences. The inhale fills the belly. The exhale releases tension. Between lines there is space to let the words do their work. The room knows the pace. The night listens. A short prayer rises now. Simple and hushed. Thank you for steady light. Thank you for a presence that keeps watch. Give rest to the tired. Hold close the grieving. Keep mercy near. The prayer is not ornate. It is a small offering, like a match struck to kindle what is already warm within. The next passage paints a picture of streams in a dry land. The image carries softness. Water appears where none was expected. The ground that once cracked underfoot becomes cool and yielding. That water brings ease. It gives a place to drink and to wash. Imagine cupping hands and letting the coolness spread across the skin. The mouth remembers relief. The shoulders remember release. A thought comes without force. Rest is not weakness. It is a receiving. The words on the page reach out to carry what is heavy. Allow them to take a turn, holding the burden. Set it down on the lap of the text for a time. The heart will return to it later. For now, the night asks only for a pause. There is a passage about light in the darkness that does not pretend the dark is gone. It simply says there is light enough. The metaphor stretches into the room. Shadows keep their edges, but the small lamp cuts a circle of calm. Within that circle, things look buffered, softened. Fear, if it appears, finds itself at a respectful distance. Notice how the body relaxes when the mind accepts a limited, gentle clarity instead of demanding all answers. I read on. The sentences are spare. They avoid argument. They avoid heavy words. Mercy appears like a blanket folded open. Hope arrives like a low, steady hum. The tone stays even. The room remembers to breathe with each phrase. Another passage recalls a path walked by someone who has known hardship, yet kept the steady pace. The steps are measured. The voice in the text does not boast. It simply walks. That calm example offers permission to move slowly. There is no hurry to outrun grief or to catch up with tomorrow. The rhythm of one slow step after another becomes healing. I invite a small exercise in the quiet between readings. Place a hand over the heart. Feel the rise and fall. Let the hand rest there like a quiet friend. Name one thing you can leave for tomorrow. Whisper it to the silence, if that helps. If nothing comes, that is okay. The act of choosing one small release softens the load. The next lines describe consolation that comes like dew. It settles unseen at first. Then the skin feels it. The hair tastes it. The day awakens differently. That soft arrival does not demand notice. It simply happens. Imagine the eyelids feeling lighter. Imagine the jaw unclenching. Let that gradual untying flow through the body. Shortly, I read a promise about peace. The words do not promise a quick fix. They promise presence. They promise a peace that is not the absence of problems, but the steadying of the heart within them. That difference matters. Picture a small boat on calm water even when fog sits low. The boat remains steady. It does not deny the fog. It keeps moving with a gentle confidence. A passage about kindness follows. It describes a hand that tends to small needs. It gathers up wounds and covers them with soft care. The image is domestic and intimate. A kettle is set to boil. A blanket is folded. Someone smooths a pillow. These small acts of tenderness belong to mercy. Allow the mind to rest there. Let the care be real and reachable. I stop to breathe and to listen to the smallest sounds in the room. The lamp's quiet buzz. The slow turning of air in the house. Each is an anchor. Each is ordinary and sacred because it is present now. Another reading speaks to the weariness of striving. The language invites a laying down. It does not condemn the effort that led here. It honors it. Then it offers rest. Imagine a traveler setting down a pack at the edge of a field and lying back on the grass. The body surrenders for a time. The sky bends over like a safe roof. The act of resting becomes a trusting of the moment. A brief, gentle prayer follows, spoken in the hush. Speak if you wish. A single word is enough. The room keeps it like a soft stone. The prayer asks for tenderness for the night. It asks for quiet courage for tomorrow. It asks for mercy that arrives without fanfare. The voice on the page describes a companion who walks beside the weary. The company does not crowd. It keeps a steady pace and a steady silence. That is enough. Picture a pair of feet matching your steps. They do not rush. They do not lag. They are simply there. I breathe and read on. The tone remains calming. The sentences are short. The mind is invited to imagine images rather than to pass arguments. Let pictures fill the room. Let them be simple and steady. There is a passage about forgiveness framed like a release. It does not demand complex contrition. It offers a simple clearing. Imagine a window opened and the stale air moving out. Fresh air fills the small space. The relief is immediate and deep. That kind of soft renewing is tonight's offering. The reading pauses longer now. I close my eyes for a moment. The lamp keeps its circle of gold. The book rests open. The silence grows warm. The breath softens to a near whisper. In that space, the words continue their quiet work. A final passage in this section brings an image of homecoming. It is not grand. It is gentle. It shows doors opening onto a room with a single candle. The place is familiar. The welcome is simple. Come in. Rest. Be tended. Let that image sit at the edge of sleep. Let it become the last thing the mind chews on before slipping toward quiet. I fold my hands and offer a short, hushed blessing. May the night's small lights multiply. May the weary find places to lay down. May mercy meet what has been carried. May hope, soft and persistent, sit beside the heart. The blessing is not loud. It is a soft closing of the day. When this part finishes, there will be a pause long enough to let the final words settle. The next section will begin soon. For now, sink deeper into the mattress or cushion. Let the blanket become a shelter. Keep the lamp softly glowing, if that feels right. Breathe slowly. Allow the breath to extend a little longer. On the exhale, I mark this spot with my thumb and close the book for a gentle moment. The lamp is steady. The room is quiet. The reading will continue when next I turn the page. For now, receive the calm. Let it rest in the bones. Let it move slowly into dreams. We end this portion with intentional hush. The pause is part of the care. When ready, return for the next short passage. The slow walk continues. The light waits on the path. I sit back into the chair. The lamp keeps its small glow. A soft hush settles. I breathe in slowly. I breathe out slowly. The room becomes a place to listen. Tonight, the theme moves forward. I speak of seeking God's guidance. The word guidance feels like a quiet compass. It does not shout. It points. It nudges. It opens a narrow window of clarity when the rest of the world blurs. I open the Bible. My finger rests lightly on the page. I read in a voice that stays low and steady. The lines are brief. Each one is a small beam. They do not demand a full answer. They offer a way to rest while waiting. The passages I choose tonight are like a calm teacher. They do not force a path. They invite an attention that is soft and patient. Imagine a small compass held in the palm. It trembles at first. Then it stills. You do not need to plot the whole voyage. One bearing is enough for now. I remind the breath to be slow. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold 1 gentle beat. Exhale for 5. Let the exhale be a little longer. This rhythm makes room. It quiets the mind's clamoring. It creates a hushed space where guidance can be heard. I read the words that speak of counsel. They describe a quiet whisper that comes when the heart is still. The whisper is not loud. It is a simple steering. It suggests kindness instead of force. It offers a small, steady direction for the next step. I invite a practice. Place a hand over the center of the chest. Feel the slow drum of the heart. Let that rhythm be a compass. Notice where the breath lands. Notice how the body answers the smallest instruction to soften. The body knows how to be led by a tender, inner sense. I describe guidance as a companion who walks beside the traveler. The companion does not rush. The pace is measured. The company is patient. That presence helps decisions shrink to manageable parts. The burden of having to know everything lifts. One step becomes enough. I read a short passage that pictures someone being led through a landscape of both light and shadow. The guide knows the terrain. The guide keeps watch at turning points. This image asks for calm trust. It asks for willingness to follow a quiet hand when it steadies you over a stone. If worries arrive, let them sit for a moment. Name one concern in a single phrase. Place it on the bedside table in the imagination. Tell it there is a time to tend it. For now, choose to rest. This small act of setting down is a kind of obedience to the guidance you seek. It calms the shoulders. It slows the mind. I breathe and let the next line sink. It speaks of wisdom that does not humiliate. Wisdom offers choices, not verdicts. It gives a narrow, steady light to read the signs. It does not shout confused lists. It shows which small door to try first. Imagine a key that fits one lock. Turn slowly. The lock clicks. The door opens just enough to let a quiet breeze pass. I invite an exercise in listening. Close the eyes for a time. Turn attention inward, like tuning a radio. The static fades. A low frequency rises. It might feel like a memory. A gentle pull. A soft clarity. Trust that gentle signal as a kind of guidance. Do not demand proof. Let it be enough that the heart softens at its suggestion. I read about decisions being like crossroads lit by lantern posts. The lanterns do not light every path. They show the nearest turn. That truth is a relief. It frees the mind from having to illuminate the far horizon. Tonight, choose the nearest lamp. Soft prayer follows. A few simple words spoken into the hush. I ask for a steady hand. I ask for a soft voice to guide the restless. I ask for the courage to follow small nudges. The prayer is brief. It is not exacting. It is a folding of need into a wider care. There is a passage that uses a gardener's touch as a metaphor. A gardener prunes gently. The pruning hurts in the doing, but helps growth. Guidance sometimes means small losses that lead to a truer shape. Imagine a gardener's fingers warm from soil. Feel trust in the care at work behind the trim. Mercy accompanies the pruning. I suggest an action for tonight. Choose one small thing to do before sleep that reflects the guidance you seek. It might be writing one sentence in a notebook. It might be setting out one item for the morning. It might be quieting the phone. Small acts, repeat trust. They teach the body to follow gentle directions instead of urgent demands. I read a line that reminds that guidance often comes alongside consolation. The voice that shows a way also gives rest. It does not send you on a lonely mission. The pathway comes with a companion's arm. Let that image soften any resistance in the chest. Allow the thought that help walks with you to be a balm. When the mind protests that this is too abstract, bring the attention to a bodily anchor. Press the soles of the feet to the floor. Feel contact. Notice the quiet of the room around the feet. The body registers small certainties. Guidance speaks through those certainties. It begins in the ground as much as in the sky. I read another passage that pictures a teacher speaking with a tone that is gentle and clear. The teacher repeats the same tender phrase until the learner grows used to it. This repetition is not dull. It becomes a steadying rhythm. Hear the refrain as an invitation to practice the small obedience of following what is simple and kind. I encourage letting go of urgency tonight. Urgency raises the voice and blinds the ears. Drop the rush. Put a soft hand on the thought that insists it must be resolved. Now, tell it, with calm, that the night does not demand decisions. The morning will come with clearer light. Assured? Si l'on pose now. Breathe. Feel the pause hold what has been read. Let the words settle into quiet muscle memory. The breathing remains slow. The room holds its gentle stillness. I read a piece that speaks to the fear of making wrong turns. It does not pretend mistakes never happen. It promises a reset. Even missteps are met with repair. That assurance is a tender mercy. It releases the posture of perfectionism. It opens a way for learning and for gentleness towards oneself. Try an image exercise. Picture a map folded in the hands. The map is soft with use. A finger traces a possible route and stops. If the route seems uncertain, fold the map to hide the unfamiliar parts. Tracing the smaller, closer sections keeps anxiety from widening into fear. Trust that the map can be unfolded again tomorrow when the eyes are fresh. I read now of listening that is more important than proving. The voice that guides values meek hearing over loud arguments. Practicing that listening means letting silence hold the next question. Silence is not empty here. It is full of shape. It becomes a space where guidance moves in. If sleep threatens to arrive, yield to it. Allow the reading to be a lullaby of care. If wakefulness stays, use the silence to hold a simple phrase. Lead me in gentleness. Repeat it slowly with the breath. The phrase is a small compass needle pointing inward. A small prayer rises again. I ask that the guidance sought tonight be a gentle one. I ask for mercy when choices confuse. I ask for rest that deepens trust. The words are plain and brief. They are offered into the hush. The final images for this section are quiet and domestic. A lamp is set on a table beside a small stack of plans. A hand reaches out and closes the book of plans for the night. The hand does not discard the plans. It sets them gently aside. That act is a kind of faith. It says not everything needs tending now. I place my thumb at the page to mark this spot. The Bible lies warm under my hand. The lamp throws a safe circle of gold. The breath stays slow. The body settles deeper into the chair or bed. When this part ends, there will be a longer pause. The pause is not an absence. It is a continuation. It lets the guidance that has been invited begin its quiet work. I close with a brief blessing. May the next small step be clear enough. May the night give room for gentle counsel. May mercy attend to every doubt. May hope remain soft and steady. The blessing is simple. It is meant to be carried into sleep. Rest. Now, let the heart follow its quiet compass. The reading will resume in the next part. For now, hold the gentle assurance like a small stone in the palm. Keep breathing. Keep listening. The path waits. And so does a guiding hand. I settle the Bible in my lap. The lamp breathes a slow circle of light. The room is soft. The moment keeps its hush. Tonight, I move deeper into a single, simple call, embrace God. That word embrace is warm and close. It is not distant theology. It is a reaching in and a letting go at once. The heart folds in on what is steady. The hands open to receive. I read slowly. My voice is low. I do not rush the lines. The pages feel familiar under my palm. The sentences are like a hand offered in the dark. They invite trust, not strain. Trust here means a whole heart turn. It is not a polite nod from the edge of the mind. It is leaning with the center of life. It is a bodily reorientation. Imagine tilting toward a warm hearth after a long cold walk. The lean itself brings heat. I speak a short phrase from the page. It lands like a small bell. The phrase asks for wholehearted trust. It warns gently against relying on cleverness alone. The mind that must explain everything will tire. The heart that rests in a steady hand will calm. I breathe as I read. Inhale, pause, exhale. Each breath becomes a small lesson in surrender. Let the next exhale be a little longer. Let the chest soften with that letting go. Embracing God looks like quiet acceptance here. Acceptance of weakness. Acceptance of not knowing. Acceptance that some roads are meant to be walked with a companion, not solved alone. That acceptance is not defeat. It is calm strength. It frees the shoulders from stiff, solitary carrying. I place a hand over the Bible and then, slowly, over my own heart. The warmth there is familiar. It steadies. That simple touch is a practice for the night. It says I am present. I am held. Let the rhythm of the heart become a metronome for trust. Images come easily in the softness of the room. A child leaning into a parent's coat. A traveler dropping a heavy sack. A small boat tethered at the shore. These pictures are plain and ordinary. They carry no grand drama. They teach the body what faith feels like, a soft surrender, not a frantic leap. I read of the mind's temptation to figure everything out. Streets of questions form in the head. Plans pile up like stones. That kind of planning has its place. Tonight it is enough to notice when planning becomes striving, when the fingers clutch the map too tightly. The hands go numb. Let the grip loosen a little. A short exercise follows. Close the eyes. Put a single worry into a small imagined bag. Tie the bag gently. Place it on the floor beside the bed. Say, in the hush, that it can wait. That small act of imagination is a ritual of trust. It teaches the muscles to loosen. The pages I read do not promise an absence of trouble. They promise guidance through it. They promise that crooked turns find correction. They promise that the hand leading is steady, even when sight is scant. That promise feels like soft scaffolding around the fragile places of the night. I pause to pray silently. The prayer is brief. It asks for help to trust with everything, not just the easy pieces. It asks for mercy when the heart holds back. It asks for a tender courage to let go of control. The words are small. The tone is mild. They fit the breath. There is an image of a path again, but not as a distant road. This one is close underfoot. The path bends and curves, and each step is brightened by a small lantern. The lantern does not show the entire way. It shows the step to take now. Embracing God asks for the willingness to follow that near light. Step by step. Surrender here is practical. It might look like turning off the phone earlier. It might look like setting a decision aside until morning. It might look like choosing rest instead of wrestling with fear at midnight. Each act is a small obedience to the call to trust. I read a line about honoring God with simple things: time, choices, small acts of quiet. Honoring does not require grand gestures. It asks for fidelity in the daily, folding a blanket, choosing a kind thought, letting the heart forgive itself tonight. These small gestures become the language of embrace. Mercy appears without pomp. It slips into the quiet like warm water poured into a basin. It does not demand confession in long speeches. It invites recognition, a soft naming of what hurts. Name one thing. If that helps, whisper it inwardly. The act of naming loosens its hold. I invite a breathing practice that mirrors trust. Inhale, 3 counts. Hold gently for 2. Exhale 5. Each exhale imagines giving over a tiny piece of control. Let the shoulders drop on that release. Notice how the jaw unclenches. Feel a small door open within the chest. Guidance and embrace often travel together. The voice that leads is not harsh. It is steady. It corrects kindly. It points back when the footing slips. Imagine a hand at the elbow that steadies but does not drag. That gentleness is part of the embrace. I read of humility as part of trust. Humility is not humiliation. It is an honest posture that admits limits. When the map becomes too full, humility folds it. Humility opens a palm and receives help. The image of an opened hand is more restful than the clenched fist of certainty. Comfort comes in small. Domestic images. A kettle heats on the stove. A blanket is smoothed over tired legs. Someone tidies the table. These quiet acts are how divine tending often looks. They are not flashy. They are close, tender, ordinary. Permit the mind to picture them clearly. Let the images seep into the bones. A short prayer follows. Not ornate. I offer thanks for the closeness that feels like a warm garment. I ask for help to rest in that closeness. I lay down a single request for mercy to keep watch over fears. The request is modest. It rests on the pages like a folded note. Fear of making wrong choices may wake tonight. The pages address that fear with soft certainty wrong turns do not cancel the journey. They teach. They redirect. They do not erase the presence that steadies and repairs. That assurance is gentle but firm. It meets perfectionism with compassion. I suggest a small act to practice embrace. Take one decision that nags and let it be for the night. Place a simple marker beside it, perhaps a small stone on the nightstand. The stone says this rests now. The act is symbolic, but symbols become habits. Habits shape the heart. Gratitude finds its place in embracing. Not a loud, triumphal list, but a single, honest recognition something has been given today. It could be a cup of water, a kind word, a brief smile. Hold that small thing in the mind for a breath. Gratitude softens the chest. It opens the hand to receive more than it could have planned. I read a short passage about being guided into paths of peace. The words frame peace, not as a consequence of perfect choices, but as a companion that walks alongside. Peace sits beside toil and hums. It does not erase the work, but it changes how the work is carried. Rest comes as a permission here. The command to rest is not an indulgence. It is a part of the embrace. Think of rest as a trusting posture. Let the body fold into its true shape. Allow sleep to come when it will. If sleep delays, let the quiet become a cradle. A gentle exercise, breathe, and imagine warm light at the center of the chest. Let that light be the place of receiving. Picture it widening with each exhale. It touches shoulders, then arms, then hands. It reaches the fingertips and rests there. The image is simple. The body learns the pattern of receiving. I read lines that remind that embracing God means inviting God into the smallest choices. It might be an early morning cup of tea. It might be a decision to speak kindly. These small invitations train the heart toward larger trust. Tiny acts create a tether to what is steady. If doubts press, name them in one short sentence, and let the sentence rest on the page like a leaf. The leaf does not need to be catalogued. It only needs to be named. The act of naming is a handing over. The chest softens afterward. I close my eyes for a long breath. The lamp keeps its circle. The Bible is warm beneath my hand. The room gathers its stillness. The words spoken in this section settle like a soft blanket. Obriev prior rises. Thank you for the steady hand. Thank you for the invitation to lean in. Help what resists to soften. Teach the heart to receive as well as to give. Let mercy and patience meet every small fear. The prayer is quiet. It is meant for listening. The final image for this section is not dramatic. It is a slow, intimate scene. Doors open into a small room with a single lamp. A chair waits. A quilt is folded over the arm. Someone places a cup on the table. The invitation is simple. Come in, rest, be tended. Let that invitation be the last thing kept in the mind before sleep. I mark the page with my thumb. The Bible closes gently for a moment. The breath remains slow. The heart holds the small practice of tonight to lean, to receive, to trust the next step. The embrace is not a one-time grand moment. It is a rhythm. It repeats with each choice. Each small surrender. When this portion ends, the hush continues. The next part will walk further along. For now, rest in the warmth of the embrace. Allow the small, steady light to linger in the chest. Keep breathing. The night holds you, and mercy rests beside you. Woo, the gift of rest. The lamp stays low. The room is still. I breathe in slowly. I breathe out slowly. The next pages are a gentle invitation. They speak of rest as a gift. Rest can feel rare. The day asks much. The mind rehearses lists. The heart carries tightness. The Bible I hold offers a different rhythm. It does not demand performance. It gives permission to lay down weight. I open the book with a light touch. My finger finds the place. The voice I use is soft and steady. The words are short. They come slowly. They let the night grow wider around them. A passage invites the weary to a quieter way. It offers a hand to those who carry heavy loads. That hand does not hurry or scold. It simply says, come. The phrase rests in the chest like a cool cloth. It cools the heat of striving. It loosens the shoulders. Picture a small room by the sea. Wind hushes at the window. A chair waits. A cup steams on a saucer. The body sinks into the chair. and lets the day fall away. Rest begins with permission. Permission is often the hardest part. The text gives that permission plainly. Allow it to take root. Breathe with me. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold for 1. Exhale for 5. Lengthen the out-breath just a little. Let the ribs soften. Let the face unknit. Each breath makes a little room inside the chest. There are images of a meadow. Grass bends underfoot. A traveler lays down a pack and stares up through a thin blue. The sky does nothing dramatic. It simply holds. The traveler rests a moment and finds steadiness again. The scene is ordinary. That ordinariness is the point. Rest is not flashy. It is practical. It repairs what is worn. Rest also looks like returning home. Doors open onto a small light. Steps slow. The house smells faintly of wood smoke or warm bread. The hands that welcome do not demand accounting. They only spread a blanket and say, "Stay." Imagine the welcome now. Let the warmth touch the edges of tension. I read another short line. It reminds that rest does not erase trouble. It sits beside trouble. It gives the body space to breathe, even while the heart holds sorrow. That kind of rest is a companion. It makes the bleakness bearable. It is not a rushed recovery. It is a gradual tending. Practice a small ritual. Put a hand on the belly. Feel the steady rise. Feel the steady fall. Tell one anxious thought, simply and briefly, that it may wait until morning. If a list presses, pick one small thing you will handle tomorrow. Place it in the mind, as if on a shelf. The act of naming one thing and setting it aside teaches the muscles to release. A passage likens rest to a shallow river. The water flows. But there are quiet pools along the way. The traveler does not step in to wash every wound at once. Instead, they pause at the pools and let coolness seep. Let that feel true for tonight. Choose one pool. Let the coolness spread slowly. Sometimes rest comes as surrender. Surrender here is not defeat. It is wise letting go. It is the knowledge that not every battle is ours to fight at midnight. Some things heal in the light of morning. Some choices settle with a clearer head. Lay down tonight's battles. Keep the courage for gentler work tomorrow. I speak of sleep as a kind of trust. When the eyes close, the body hands itself over to a process it cannot control. That handing over is a small practice in faith. It is a soft trust that repair happens with time and quiet. The pages reassure that this handing over aligns with mercy. Mercy attends the asleep as well as the awake. There is a simple exercise to slow the mind. Imagine a small stone in the palm. Place the stone on the bedside. Tell it, without argument, that it will sit there until morning. The stone is a symbol. It says tonight, the worry rests. Symbols like this help the skin and the muscles learn to loosen. I read a passage about Sabbath rest. It remembers a rhythm older than hurry. A day exists for pause. Work has a place. Rest has a place. 2. The text does not scold for tiredness. It dignifies it. Let that dignity settle into the bones. Allow the hands to unclench. Mercy appears often in these lines. It does not come as a lecture. It pours like soft water into cupped hands. Mercy meets mistakes with a warm towel. It does not tally errors all night. Imagine mercy as a quiet nurse who checks wounds and does not rush the healing. That image soothes, assured. Usprayer rises. Thank you for rest. Help the hands to loosen. Hold what is broken gently. The prayer is small. It sits in the soft air. If a single name visits the mind, bring it into that small prayer. The room keeps it. The body learns rest by small acts. Unlace shoes, fold clothes, dim the lamp another notch. Let the blanket wrap a little higher. These tiny movements become signals. The nervous system recognizes them and begins to lower its guard. Turn the phone away or silence the pulse of alerts. Let the quiet be uninterrupted for a while. I read a line about rest being a gift given even to busy hands. The giver understands toil. The offer is not theoretical. It is practical. Take it. Lay the hands on the lap. Imagine that hands are being tended, not tested. The notion that rest is a deserved gift sinks in with that image. If sleep feels distant, do not force it. Keep listening. Let the voice on the page be a companion. Follow a soft image, a lantern swinging gently over a small trail. The lantern does not sweep the whole horizon. It steadies one step. Walk toward that next light. Repeat the simple phrase. With each breath, it is enough. Forgiveness and rest often meet. Forgiveness removes the jagged edges that wake the mind. When a conscience is eased, the chest releases. The pages earlier invited confession and showed that renewal follows. Rest flows more readily when the weight of regret finds grace. If any unresolved thing sits heavy tonight, name it briefly. Offer it in the quiet. Trust that renewal is gentle. There is also a passage that pictures a bed prepared with care. Linen is smoothed. A small lamp glows. The host does not ask many questions. The guest is welcome. Think of that preparation as real. Imagine being laid down on that bed. Feel the linen cool across the shoulder. Let the muscles say yes. Practice a breathing cadence that mimics sleep. Inhale 2 beats. Exhale 3 beats. Repeat. Each cycle lengthens the night. Each lengthened exhale shapes relaxation. Let the breath lead. The body follows with small sighs. Those sighs are not failures. They are the body's script for loosening. Soft music is not required. The voice of the text is enough. If the eyelids grow heavy, let them fall. If wakefulness remains, find one comforting image and let it sit like a warm stone. Focus on the warmth rather than the worry. I offer a small blessing in this hush. May the night carry rest. May the body receive repair. May mercy tend every bruise. May hope wake gentle in the morning. The blessing is quiet. It is meant to be held, not announced. Before this section closes, I invite a tiny act of gratitude. Think of one small kindness from the day. It could be a meal, a brief smile, a moment of shelter from rain. Hold that moment for a single breath. Gratitude is not a demand for perfection. It is a soft recognition that life gives small mercies even on hard days. There is a close to this part. The pages find a final image of a harbour at dusk. Boats bob gently. Lines are tied. Lanterns glow in windows. No captain sleeps at the helm tonight. The harbour keeps watch. The boats rest. So do the travellers. Let that harbour be a last picture before sleep. I mark the page with my thumb. The lamp still makes a small circle of gold on the table. The Bible rests warm under my hand. The breath remains slow. The ache in the shoulders eases by half. The night is longer than this moment. And yet this moment is enough. When this part ends, there will be a pause. Let the pause be deep and sweet. If sleep arrives, let it take the reading as a lullaby. If wakefulness stays, keep the silence like a soft companion. The rest given here is not fragile. It is steady and practical. It goes with the gentle steps we take tomorrow. Close the eyes when ready. Lay the head down. Let the small light linger in the mind. Rest is a gift. Receive it slowly. The next part will come when the lamp is turned up again. For now, sleep or quiet. Whatever comes is kept in mercy and held with gentle hope. I settle the Bible back into my lap. The lamp throws a low circle of gold. The room keeps its hush. My thumb marks the place where I will read. Tonight, a single sentence from an old psalm lives at the center of what I hold. The sentence pictures a night of peace. It pictures sleep that comes because someone keeps watch. I speak the idea slowly. I do not say the words as a line to memorize. I let the meaning settle. The thought is simple, a peaceful lying down, a sleep that feels safe, a hand that holds without pressing. Let that image rest in the air. Breathe with me now. The breath is small and deliberate. Inhale for 3 counts. Pause 1. Exhale for 5. Let the out-breath lengthen the body into softness. Each cycle gives a little more room. The shoulders unclench a notch with each exhale. The jaw softens. The legs release. The Psalm's picture is not of a rushed, restless sleep. It is of sleep that follows a day laid gently down. It is the sleep of someone who knows a steady care watches through the dark. Picture that care as hands welling up like warm water. Imagine palms cupped under the weary body. Imagine those palms shaped broad enough to hold the whole night. I read in a tone that keeps the cadence slow. The voice is not a teacher's voice. It is the voice of a companion who sits by the bedside and speaks so the edges of thought can blur. The words are short. They leave space. In the space, the mind begins to stop arguing and starts to breathe. There is a practice tucked into this moment. It is simple and quiet. Fold the hands in the lap. Feel the warmth there. Lay one thought into the palms. The thought may be a worry, a name, a task that circles like a small bird. Place it in the hands as if handing a cup across the table. Do not try to fix it. Do not try to explain it. Let it rest for a while. Now imagine those hands are not empty. They belong to a gentle presence. See the palms lift. Receive the small bundle and cradle it. There is no tightness. There is only steady holding. The image is not meant to solve everything. It is a rehearsal of trust. It teaches the body to accept being held. Move attention slowly through the body. Start at the feet. Notice any tightness there. Breathe into the soles. Let the muscles at the ankles loosen. Shift that attention to the calves and knees. Breathe. Let the skin warm. Continue upward to the thighs and hips. Tell the parts that they may rest for a while. The mind does not have to carry the shape of every day. The body learns permission with each small release. Bring the hands to the chest. Feel the gentle rise and fall. Place the imagined cup of worry there for a moment, and then let it drift into the awaiting palms. The act of placing is an act of intention. It is small, it is real. The chest breathes differently. After that, letting go. There is a line in the psalm that frames this care, not as distant power, but as protection that makes a home. Picture home as a small room with a low lamp. The ceiling is not grand. The welcome is quiet. A window opens to the night and lets in cool air. In that room, the body is allowed to close eyes without proving anything. In that room, safety is ordinary. Practice a slow rocking in the mind. Imagine being cradled in those palms. The motion is tiny. It does not fling the heart into empty space. It simply rocks like a boat tied to a gentle mooring. The rocking soothes the inner noise. The rhythm of the cradle matches the breath. In this gentleness, sleep can unbind. If a face or a name presses at the edges, breathe and place that name into the palms. Let the image of holding be specific. Hold it with tenderness, as if it were a small bird with broken wing. The taking and the holding do not mean everything is fixed. They mean someone shares the weight for a moment. There is room here for honesty. The psalm does not promise painless nights. It promises presence. That difference matters. Presence does not wipe away fear. Presence changes fear's shape. It makes fear smaller beside steady holding. It makes the night feel less like abandonment and more like accompaniment. I guide a short practice for the hands. Open the palms. Imagine they are warm and slightly cupped. Picture a soft light sitting in them. That light carries whatever is heavy. Hold it in the hands for 3 slow breaths. On the out breath, picture the palms lifting the burden a fraction and letting weight sink into a wider embrace. The motion is symbolic. The body responds as if it has been touched. Listen to the small sounds in the room. The lamp whispers. The house breathes. The distance of traffic hums like a far tide. Those ordinary sounds anchor. They remind the senses that the world keeps moving while the heart learns to rest. A brief, plain prayer comes now. Not ornate. It is a handing over of weight. It is a small voice. Hold this. Keep watch. Keep it safe. The prayer is more a breath than a speech. It is a soft folding of need into the hands imagined. Let the imagery change to a field at dusk. The grass hushes. A traveler stretches out on a small blanket. Above, a few stars begin. The traveler does not try to hold the sky. The traveler lays down the pack and rests. The pack will be there in the morning. Tonight, the body is given reprieve. Practice the body. Scan once more. Move slowly from the belly to the ribs. Notice any tightness around the throat. Allow the tongue to rest. Release the tension behind the eyes. The forehead relaxes If the brow keeps frowning, breathe and imagine that furrow smoothing like a small wrinkle ironed out by calm hands. Sleep sometimes resists like a cautious animal. It does not trust sudden movement. Approach it like one approaches a sleeping child, with careful steps and soft tones. Let the reading be the soft tone. Let the breath be the careful step. Do not rush into forcing sleep. Allow the body to decide its own pace. There is mercy in this practice. It meets the restless with patience. It treats the anxious mind as a neighbor who needs gentle explanation, not a jailer who must be shamed. The Psalms scene models that mercy, a watchful care that keeps company without crushing. If a list insists on being tended, choose one item to place on a small shelf in the imagination. Tell the list that it can rest there until morning. This act is not denial. It is triage. It teaches the nervous system that not every demand requires midnight attention. I invite a short visualization for the hands. See them as a small harbor. Boats of worry drift in. One by one, the boats pull close and dock. The harbor puts up gentle fenders. The boats tie off. For a time, no captain needs to keep watch. The harbor holds them. The night watches softly. Allow the breath to lengthen. Inhale for 4. Pause. Exhale for 6. The exhale is longer than the inhale. Each extended out-breath invites a little more letting go. The pattern becomes steady. The body learns calm rhythm. A final image anchors this section. Imagine being tucked into a familiar room where the only light is a softly glowing lamp. A hand smooths down the blanket. A last small care is given. There is no grand scene of triumph. There is only peace. There is only a simple sleeping made safe. I close the Bible gently and rest my hand on the cover. The lamp continues its small circle of gold. The thumb keeps the place for the next reading. A soft blessing follows. Hushed and deliberate, may this night be one of careful holding. May the hands that hold be steady. May sleep come with the sense of being watched over without alarm. When the voice falls silent, let the quiet be thick and kind. If sleep arrives, let it come like a tide. If wakefulness stays, keep the image of the hands beside the bed. Let them carry whatever needs to be carried until morning. Breathe. Rest. The night is in good hands. I mark the page and close the book for a gentle pause. The lamp is dimmed another fraction. The room breathes with me. The next part will unfold when the lamp is turned up again. For now, let the holding be enough. Let the sleep that comes be mindful and safe. The hush lasts. The mercy remains. I lift the Bible to the light and let the cover rest against my palm. The room holds its hush. My voice stays low. Tonight's heart is a simple invitation. It reaches to the tired places. It calls the shoulders to loosen. I read a passage that invites the weary to come. The words are not an accusation. They are a gentle hand. They ask the heavy-bodied to step closer and set down what they carry. Imagine a traveler on a long road finally arriving at a gate. The gate opens without question. No papers asked. No lists demanded. The traveler is welcomed simply because the journey wears them thin. Breathe with me. Inhale, slow. Hold a soft beat. Exhale longer. Let the exhale be an emptying. Each out-breath is a gentle letting go. The breath anchors the body where it is. It keeps the mind from rushing ahead again. Place the burdens in the imagination on a small stool by the bedside. Give each one a simple name. Use one word if that helps worry. Regret, fear, tiredness. Say the names silently. Do not judge them. Do not extend them more importance than they already have. Imagine lifting one bag at a time and setting it down with a soft thud. The sound is not harsh. It simply marks the choice to pause. I remind myself and invite you to picture trade. The heavy load is exchanged for something light. The metaphor is deliberate. The old pack is full of things that pressed and rubbed. Its straps cut into the shoulders. The new yoke is crafted to fit. It curves to the body. It sits where it supports rather than binds. This exchange does not erase experience. It only changes how the weight is carried. Slowly, I fold my hands and speak a short offering of release. It is not a long speech. It is a single-minded breath. I ask that the burden set on the stool be held in steadier hands for the night. Imagine those hands warm and sure. They accept the bundle without poking or judging. They know what to do with it through the dark hours. Listen to the quiet in the room. The lamp hums low. The air moves in small tides. Let those ordinary sounds become companions to the release. They are reminders that the world keeps tending even while sleep does its repair. Try a small practice with the eyes closed. Picture holding a stone in each palm. Each stone is a burden. Feel their weight. Tilt the hands forward and imagine placing one stone into an imagined open hand that warms it. Do this slowly. The act of handing over is tactile even in the mind. The muscles start to believe the motion. A little tension in the neck and jaw dissolves when the imagined palms accept the stones. I read on about learning from one who is gentle. The voice in the passage is like a teacher who bends low and speaks softly. The lesson is not complex. It invites a rest of the heart. It teaches how to walk without driving the feet into the ground. Hear that gentleness as an instruction to be tender with oneself. There is mercy here that does not demand long confessions. It receives what is brought with tenderness. Think of it like a basin of warm water set at the bedside. Hands that are raw and tired are submerged and soothed. The water does not ask for count of mistakes. It simply washes. If shame sits heavy, let it come forward into the warmth and sit there for a moment. Name it. Let the naming be short and precise. Names do not weaken, they release. When a thought is named, it loses the power to haunt in shadow. It changes shape under light. A gentle rhythm helps the letting go. Inhale to 4 counts. Hold 1. Exhale to 6. Let the exhale lengthen slowly until the body begins to relax on its own. Pair the breath with a small motion. On the out-breath, imagine loosening a knot in the shoulders. Do this as many times as needed. The repetition teaches trust through the body. I invite a tiny ritual. Take a small object, a pebble, a bead, a folded scrap of paper. Place it on the nightstand. Tell it, inwardly and plainly, that it represents what you will set down until morning. That physical marker is a promise kept by the hands. Symbols like this do not fix everything, but they rewire habit. The body accepts the outward cue and begins to dim its alarm. The text I hold speaks of yokes that are easy and burdens that are light. It does not say life becomes effortless. It says the posture changes. The body does not carry alone. A companion shares the weight. The change in posture is immediate. Shoulders drop. The chest eases. Breathing deepens without trying. Allow an image of a field at dusk. The traveler loosens the straps of a pack and rests back onto a grassy slope. The sky glows just enough to keep fear at bay. Stars appear slowly, patient and indifferent to the traveler's hurry. Lying there, the traveler feels small, and in that smallness finds space to breathe. The scene is ordinary. That ordinariness makes it convincing and kind. Forgiveness and letting go walk closely together. When an old wrong is handed over, it does not vanish as if it never happened. It becomes a story with softer edges. Picture a torn cloth, mended with careful stitching. The seam remains. But the tear is no longer a jagged event that catches at the hand. It becomes part of a broader fabric. That mending is mercy in action. I guide another brief practice. Think of an area of decision that presses tonight. Write a single line about it on a small paper, if possible. Fold it once. Place it under the pebble. The act is simple and practical. It keeps the mind from rehearsing the dilemma through the night. The paper does not solve the problem. It does give the mind permission to rest. There is comfort in being taught by gentleness. The teaching is not an argument. It is demonstration. It comes by example. Imagine a teacher walking alongside and pointing out small steps that ease the feet. Try one. Choose the smallest nearby act that reflects the advice. Perhaps it is setting an alarm a few minutes earlier, so the morning does not begin in panic. Perhaps it is making a cup of warm drink to take to bed. These tiny obediences build trust with rest. I watch the room as I speak. The lamp throws a circle wide enough for the hands, and the book outside. The night keeps us steady, even hush. The hush becomes a frame for the letting go. Within that frame, the burdens look less urgent. They can wait. The hands that hold them are not required to remain tense. A short, blind prayer releases. It is not ornate. It is a single breath made into words. Receive these things. Hold them kindly. Keep watch while we sleep. The prayer is more a breathing out than a speech. It folds what is heavy into a larger care. Remember that rest is not a final answer to trouble. It is an entry into a rhythm of repair. The night mends in slow ways. Sleep stitches a few hidden seams. Mercy attends in quiet hours. Trusting that process makes the letting go possible. If wakefulness returns, meet it without force. Name the returning thought and put it beside the pebble again. Practice patience with it. Do not glare at the mind for being alive. Treat it like an anxious bird that needs coaxing. Soft tones work better than commands. I close the Bible gently when the time feels right. My thumb keeps the place for the next reading. The lamp stays low. The room breathes with the same slow cadence that has become ours for this hour. The body carries a lighter posture than before. The shoulders are less tight. The chest has room. Before the next section, I leave a final image, hands open in the night, holding what is brought. They do not clutch. They do not hide. They simply hold. The holding makes space for sleep. The holding keeps watch. It is enough. I offer a brief blessing, barely more than a whisper. May the burdens be held elsewhere for a time. May rest have room to work. May gentleness teach the heart new steps. The blessing closes like a small fold. When the voice pauses, the hush continues. If sleep comes, let it take the reading as a hand at the elbow. If wakefulness remains, keep the pebble near and repeat the breath. The invitation stands come with the weariness, and find rest for the night. I settle the Bible on my knee. The lamp gives its small circle of light. The room keeps its hush. I breathe in. I breathe out. Tonight I bring a line that asks for a simple practice. Do not let anxiety be the first language of the night. The text asks for a different way. It asks that worries be turned into conversation. It asks that requests be offered with thanksgiving. It promises a peace that watches over the heart and the mind. I do not read those words as a command that makes failure shameful. I read them as an invitation. The voice on the page is gentle. It says, when the chest feels tight, do not add force. Offer what you carry. Bring it in. Add thanks. Let a peace come that does not need to explain itself. It sits. It keeps watch. Breathe with me. Inhale 3 slow counts. Hold 1 soft beat. Exhale 5. Let the out-breath be longer than the in. Each exhale loosens a small knot. Each pause becomes an opening for a quiet thought. The breath is a small prayer that needs no words. When anxiety comes, I teach a small habit. I name one worry in a single word. I do not give it a long speech. I do not follow it down the rabbit hole. I hold the name for a single breath. Then I place that name into an imagined hand. The hand is steady. It is not cold. It is kind. I hand the worry over and keep my palms open. After handing over the worry, Yod gratitude, thankfulness, is not an attempt to deny the hard things. It is a balancing. I look back over the day for 3 small goods. They can be thin things. A warm cup, a brief smile, a safe step home. I hold each one in the mind like a small pebble. The pebbles warm under the palm of thought. This turning toward thanks is a practice. It changes the posture of the heart. It teaches the body that needs can be asked for and also received. Asking without gratitude can feel like a demand. Asking with thanks makes room. It invites the peace promised to settle more easily. Picture peace as a gentle guardian. It is not a rigid fence. It is a soft cloak that covers the chest. It does not erase the shadows at the edge of the room. It simply quiets the jumping at the heart. Imagine the cloak as linen warmed in the sun. It drapes without smothering. It keeps the tremor from becoming a storm. I put a hand over my heart and feel its steady beat. The hand is a small anchor. I imagine the cloak settling there. Each breath presses it down a little. The chest opens with permission. The shoulders slacken. The jaw loosens. the body begins to remember rest. A short practice helps the mind learn this pattern. Take a small scrap of paper. Write one concern on it in a single line. Fold it once. Place it on the nightstand. Then, without argument, place 3 small things of thanks beside it. The paper does not vanish. The thanks do not ignore it. They simply sit near it, like a companion on the bench. The act of placing them in proximity shifts how the heart holds both. I speak quietly now of how to pray in this hush. Prayer need not be long. It need not be clever. It is a handing over and a saying, "Thank you." Think of prayer as a small conversation across a table. Put the worry on the table. Say one plain line about it. Add one line of thanks. Close the short exchange and let the silence do the rest. The silence is not empty. It is a receptacle for the peace that follows. Avoid the temptation to pile up arguments in the mind. Do not gather reasons for anxiety, as if they will become a shield. Instead, choose one small trust. Trust that something or someone keeps watch. Trust that the heart can be steadied. Trust that your asking is heard, even if the answer is slow. That trust does not need a full proof. It only needs a willingness to rest in the possibility. I read again, slowly, the meaning of the promise, a peace that guards. Guarding here is soft. It looks like a lamp kept at the window through the dark. It does not banish the night. It shows the threshold and keeps a steady glow there. Think of that glow as the kind of peace that will not be startled by sudden fears. It watches and waits. Try a visualization. Picture a small garden inside the chest. The garden has a low stone wall. Anxiety is like wind that can stir leaves. The peace promised is like a low fence and a careful gardener who mends what is ripped. The gardener does not fight the wind. The gardener tucks tender, shoots and waters slowly. You do not need to run into the garden and fix every leaf. Allow the gardener to do what gardeners do in the night, tending quiet ways. If thoughts return, notice them without scolding. Say the name of the thought and gently set it where the folded paper sits. Return to the breath. Let the breath be an anchor. Let the pattern repeat. The mind learns by repetition. The hands learn by small motions. The heart learns by practice. There is a tenderness in the text that deserves to be met with gentleness. Mercy meets the anxious mind. It does not condemn it for being anxious. It sits beside it and offers a different posture. The posture asks for less clenched bracing and more open receiving. Imagine someone smoothing a blanket across your knees without prying into the contents of the pockets. That smoothing is mercy. It does not interrogate. It comforts. Give thanks for 3 specifics tonight. Choose small things. A steady breath. A friend who laughed for a moment. A task that went right. Hold each chosen thing for a breath. Watch how the chest feels different after the smallest thanks. Gratitude opens a door. Peace slips through that door and sits. I teach an additional breath pattern for moments when the racing starts. Inhale 2 beats. Hold 1. Exhale slowly for 7 beats. Make the out-breath soft and even. The long exhale signals the nervous system that danger is not immediate. It calms the body through a language the muscles understand. Keep a practical anchor by the bed. A pen and a small notebook help. If anxious thoughts stir, write one line with the time. Do not argue with the thought. Write it down. And close the book. The act of moving the thought from mind to paper frees the mind from rehearsing it. The paper waits on the nightstand like a promise to address it at a gentler hour. I speak now of peace that guards the mind as much as the heart. The mind often plays out worst-case scenes. When that happens, bring the scene back to a single step. Ask what is one small next thing I can do in the morning. The rest can wait. The mind will thank the practice. It will stop spinning out entire tomorrows in a single night. If shame or regret keeps you awake, place them in the same hand as the worries. Name them, hand them over. Then add a single act of gratitude, perhaps gratitude for a lesson learned, or for a mercy that still breathes. Let the two burden and thanks sit side by side. Their proximity changes the weight. In this room, I put my thumb at the place and breathe in the promise of night. The peace that is spoken of does not always arrive as silence. Sometimes it arrives as steadiness, sometimes as a small courage to sleep, sometimes as a soft watchfulness around fragments of fear. Any of these count. I offer a brief, plain blessing now within the hush. May this night hold what you cannot hold. May the heart be steadied. May the mind find a small lamp. May the breath teach the body to let go. The blessing is not loud. It is a small fold of care. If sleep comes, accept it as a carrying. If wakefulness stays, keep the habits close. Name a thought. Hand it over. Give thanks. Repeat the breath. The practices are small. They repeat. They teach the muscles and the mind. I close the book gently for a moment and let my thumb hold the place. The lamp remains low. A long pause follows. Let the pause be part of the blessing. When the reading begins again, another light will be placed on the path. For now, rest in the promise that peace can watch the night. Let that promise be the last small image you keep as your eyes grow heavy. The hush deepens. The breathing slows. The hands fold. The night watches kindly. I sit very still for a moment. The lamp throws a small pool of gold across the page. My finger rests where I will read. The line I carry tonight is simple and sure. It says I am held by a love that will not let go. I say that quietly to myself before I read it aloud. The sentence settles like a warm stone in my hand. I read in a voice that keeps space. I do not rush the words. I let each one land. The thought is not an argument. It is reassurance for the heart. Nothing. The page says, can finally cut the thread that ties me to that love. I repeat the idea slowly. I do not feel the need to list everything that might hurt or frighten. The main thing is enough. The love reached out and remains. Imagine a rope of light. It runs from the deepest place to the highest place. It passes through the valleys of worry and the cliffs of loss. It crosses the plains of ordinary days and the wild weather of nights that seem endless. The rope does not snap. It does not fray. It holds. Picture it as gently wrapped around the chest. Not tight, but steady. The image is not dramatic. It is quiet and true. Breathe with me. Inhale for 3 counts. Pause. Exhale for 5. Let each exhale imagine the rope, drawing tension out through the soles of the feet. Let the shoulders drop on the out-breath. The breath is a small teacher. It helps the body accept the reassurance that the mind hears. There are many things that stir fear. Death may come like a shadow. Regret may whisper in the dark. Authority and power may intimidate. The future may feel unknown. I do not try to argue these away. I name them in a soft way, and then return to the central truth. The love I read of does not disappear when trouble arrives. It meets trouble in the very places. It hurts. Aigide agiad practice. Put a hand over the center of the chest. Feel the rise and fall. Name one fearful thing in a single soft word. Say it inwardly. Place that word into the palm as if it were a small paper. Fold the paper and set it on the bedside table. Imagine the rope of light gently lifting the paper and carrying it into a larger keeping. The act is small. It is a gesture of trust. It trains the body to hand over what it cannot carry tonight. The passage I read speaks not only of rescue from danger, it speaks of accompaniment. The love is not a distant force that occasionally intervenes. It is a continual presence that walks beside the slow and the hurried alike. Picture a companion matching your steps in the dim. The companion does not crowd. The companion does not hurry. The presence simply keeps pace and hands you a small lantern when the path grows uncertain. Mercy shows in the details of that accompaniment, when mistakes have been made, when words have hurt, when the sleep is restless because of regret. The love leans in with quiet tending. It does not heap shame. It places a cool cloth and listens. This mercy is ordinary. It comes in small acts that soothe sore places. Let that soften the jaw. Let it loosen the knees. I speak softly about the fear of being alone in trouble. Many nights whisper that separation is possible. The page refuses that whisper. It names a bond that endures through seasons and storms. The words do not promise a life without loss. They promise that loss will not sever the connection. That promise is steady like a lighthouse in fog. The lamp by the shore does not remove the fog, but it marks the safe line. Try an image now. Picture an ocean. The water is sometimes calm. Sometimes it surges. The love I read of is like a buoy anchored deep beneath the waves. No swell lifts it away. The buoy bobs and keeps its place. In the dark of night, the buoy's small light is enough to guide a single hand towards safety. Imagine resting your head against the buoy's warm wood. Feel small relief. I keep my voice low, and even the sentences are short on purpose. They slow the mind. They match the slow tides of breathing. The text does not invite debate. It invites rest. It invites a surrender to a truth that has steadied my own nights before this one. A practice of gratitude fits here. After handing the fear over, think of one small kindness you received today. It could be a cup of warmth, a neighbor's nod, a brief moment of clarity. Hold that memory in the mind like a small flame. Let thanksgiving be a companion to trust. Saying thank you in the hush is not a denial of trouble. It is a way to keep the heart balanced. The love discussed on the page is not earned by performance. It rests on an invitation. That does not make it cheap. It makes it available. The posture asked of me and you is not frantic striving to deserve. It is a quiet leaning. Imagine a tired hand opening rather than clutching. The opening itself is a prayer that the love will take what is offered and meet it with mercy. Slowly move attention through the body. Start with the feet. Notice any tension in the toes. Breathe into them. Move up the calves. Ease the knees. Let the hips settle. Relax the belly. Soften the chest a little more than before. Allow the hands to uncurl. Bring the palms together for a heartbeat, and then lay them softly on the thighs. Each small unwinding makes room for the truth of being held. When memory brings guilt, name it clearly and gently. Place it beside the folded paper of worry. Do not try to fix it in the night. Let the love of the page be the one that holds it. Imagery helps here. Picture a seamstress who mends torn garments carefully. The seam remains, but the fabric becomes whole enough to be worn without catching. That mending is the mercy this love offers. I speak of safety without loud certainties. Safety is not promised as a shield that blocks every hurt. Safety here is a steadiness that is present in the midst of hurt. It is the someone who sits by the bedside and keeps watch until the hour softens. The presence may not remove the pain, but it will not leave you alone inside it. Practice a short breathing rhythm to let that reality sink in. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold 1. Exhale for 6 counts. Make the out-breath longer and softer. Each extended out-breath tells the nervous system that the moment is not urgent. The muscles respond with small loosening. The mind follows with eased tension. I offer a silent, simple prayer now. I am not long-winded. The prayer is a single act. I place what worries me into the hands that will not let go. I add a quiet thanks for whatever small good visited the day. The prayer is like handing a note across a table. It is short and specific, and then I let the table hold it. The text I read also casts hope forward. Love that cannot be broken reaches beyond today. It covers tomorrow's fears as well as tonight. That does not remove the need for plans or care. It changes the posture toward them. Plans are still made. Sleep still comes. The trust is that whatever the day brings, this love stays connected. I suggest a practical ritual for the coming hour. Place a small item on the bedside that can stand for this bond. A pebble, a ribbon, a small, smooth shell. Choose the object with quiet intention. When worry returns, touch the object. Feel its texture. Remind the hands that a rope of light is holding the heart. The tactile act helps the nervous system remember what the mind declares. Sometimes, the thought of being separated can be stubborn. It creeps back as if to test the claim. When that happens, do not argue with the thought at length. Acknowledge it with one sentence. Name it. Hand it to the paper on the bedside. Return to breath and the small object. Repetition trains the muscles to follow the truth of the night rather than the fear mind. Mercy finds a way into sleeplessness, if awake for long stretches. Use the time kindly. Turn attention to steady images rather than to rerunning the day's trouble. Imagine a slow hand smoothing the blanket at the edge of the bed, or a lantern swung softly in small circles. The images are plain. They are domestic. They have power because they are quiet and ordinary. I keep reading with a voice that slips into the quiet like a friend. The sentences are intentionally spare. They make room for the interior to speak back. If tears come, let them. Tears are not failure. They are part of being human. Allow them to pass without adding a chorus of criticism. Bring them into the palms, if that is needed. Let the love on the page cradle them. Before this section closes, I invite one more small practice. Think of someone you care for. Hold their image gently. Now see the rope of light that holds you extend to that person. 2. Imagine the same steady connection binding you both. Send a soft blessing their way. The act expands the circle of comfort and helps the chest feel less cramped with solitary worry. I place my thumb at the line in the Bible and breathe in the assurance one more time. Nothing that will be named tonight can finally separate me from this love. The thought does not make every fear tiny. It does make the fear less lonely. It gives the night a companion that is patient and kind. A last hush follows. I offer a brief blessing in the quiet. May the love that will not let go be the steady thing you feel when the dark presses close. May it guard the mind and soak into the bones. May mercy meet every fault without a harsh ledger. The blessing is not loud. It is a small fold of care. I close the book gently for a short pause and keep the lamp on its low setting. My thumb stays at the page. The next section will come when the light is raised again. For now, let the truth of this love be the last thing you hold. Breathe. Rest. The rope of light is steady. The night watches, and mercy keeps company. I settle the Bible where the lamp makes a small circle of light. The room is quiet. The page waits. I breathe in slowly. I breathe out slowly. Tonight, I turn toward a line that steadies me. God strengthens and upholds. The thought is plain. It is not a lecture. It is a steadying promise. I read the idea aloud with a low voice. The cadence is gentle. The words come like a slow step. I let space follow each phrase. The space is part of the meaning. It allows the heart to accept what the mind may still doubt. Fear can feel like a pulling. It tugs at the chest and at the knees. It wants the hands to grip tight. The page answers with a different motion. It suggests a lift rather than a grip. It speaks of support that does not demand performance. Imagine a harness that cradles tired shoulders. It holds without pressing. That image is simple. It is enough. Place a hand where the chest rises. Feel the beat there. Let that pulse be a small metronome. Each beat says you are not alone. Each beat is a reminder that there is a steady rhythm beneath the hurried thoughts. Breathe with that rhythm. Let the in-breath fill the ribs gently. Let the out-breath lengthen and release. I picture a bridge beneath trembling feet. The bridge is not dazzling. It is practical. Boards are set. Ropes knotted. Supports firm. With each step, the bridge bears weight. It does not promise to erase the wind. It promises to hold while the wind passes. Let your mind rest on that promise. The body knows what it is to walk on something made for the step. The text offers strength in small ways. It does not promise sudden removal of trouble. It offers steadiness in the middle of trouble. Picture an unseen current that lifts a small boat so it does not scrape the rocks. The current is not visible from shore. The rower feels it under the hull. Feel that lift under the spine in the imagination. Feel the relief in the hips. Let the shoulders soften a little. If anxiety tightens the jaw, place the tongue softly on the roof of the mouth. If the shoulders climb towards the ears, let them drop a fraction. Small adjustments matter. The promise of being upheld is practical. It shows in small realignments of the body. The quiet doing of the night repairs the rest of the day's strain. When thought spins toward worst-case imaginings, use a simple naming practice. Give the worry a single word. Say it quietly to yourself. Then imagine placing that word on a low shelf in the mind. It does not get dismissed. It is simply kept where you can attend to it later with a clearer head. This small gesture is an act of trust. It is a rehearsal for handing weight over to something steadier. The page speaks also of courage. Courage here is not a loud triumph. It is a steady leaning into what holds. It is the small decision to take the next step, because there is a sure footing beneath it. If the night feels like a long climb, focus on the next footfall. One careful step at a time is enough. I invite a short practice with the breath. Inhale for 3 slow counts. Let the pause after the inhale be a brief shelter. Exhale for 6 counts. Longer and gentler. Let each out-breath imagine support coming up through the soles of the feet and rising the spine a tiny degree. The body learns by repetition. The muscles listen to the breath and follow. There is a tenderness to the upholding that I find myself resting in. It is quiet and unhurried. It accepts the small failures and the big questions without tallying them. Imagine a seamstress mending a garment by lamplight. The stitches are careful. The seam does not erase the tear's history. It does make the fabric wearable again. Mercy looks like that mending. If grief sits heavy, do not be surprised that the chest resists the calm. Grief will have its hour. Allow it room to be named and held. Speak its shape softly into the quiet. Then, when ready, place it into the palms of imagination. See the palms, lift it gently. Set it into a larger keeping. The act of handing over is not abandonment. It is wise stewardship. I think of strength as accompaniment as much as rescue. Strength arrives as a steady side-by-side presence. It does not elbow the traveler forward. It matches the pace. It offers a shoulder to lean on, not to prop up forever, but to rest against while the legs recover. Picture someone walking level with you in dusk. The step and breath match. That steadiness becomes courage. There is also a practical side to this promise. Strength that upholds shows in simple rhythms of care. A warm drink before bed. The closing of curtains to cut the glare of thought. A small list set aside for tomorrow. These ordinary acts repeat trust in ways the body understands. When the hands perform them, the nervous system reads the ritual and begins to ease. Hold one small object tonight if it helps. A ribbon, a smooth shell, a token of some kind. Touch it once and lay it under your pillow or beside the hand. When worry returns, Touch the object. The tactile motion anchors the promise. The mind remembers that a tangible sign stands for what the heart hears in words. Symbols like this are not magic. They are gentle cues that shape habit. I do not ask you to deny the hard things. I only invite a different angle on them. The page promises not an erasure but an undergirding. When the night feels raw, imagine planks placed across a deep gap. The planks do not remove the height. They make crossing possible. The body can move slowly. The heart can keep breathing. A short prayer rises in the hush. The prayer is simple and quiet. Ask for the strength that steadies. Ask for the courage to rest in the support that will not let go. Offer thanks for the small mercies of the day. The prayer is a single breath formed into words and then released back into silence. Sometimes the thought of being upheld feels too abstract. Anchor it in one small memory. Remember a time someone steadied you without grand words. A hand on the elbow that guided you through a crowd. A friend who listened without fixing. A neighbor who brought a meal. Hold that memory and let it stand as proof that support exists in ordinary forms. If fear of the future crowds the mind, take a practical next step approach. Ask what is one small thing I can do tomorrow that helps pick something tiny and set it down in a notebook. The act of naming a single, manageable step calms the mind. It narrows the horizon into one reachable point. The promise to uphold is generous. It reaches into the stumbles and the slow recoveries. It does not demand explanation for every fall. It offers a quiet hand to help with the rising. That steadiness is not loud. It is patient and practical. I hold the Bible open with a gentle thumb. The lamp breathes its steady light. The room keeps its hush. The breath slows further. The hands rest on the thighs. The posture becomes softer. Before this section closes, try one more practice. Lie back or settle deeper into the chair. Bring the attention to the spine. Imagine a gentle support running the length of it. Feel warmth and steadiness beneath the shoulders. Let that sense of undergirding move the muscles to relax. With each breath, the support grows more present in the imagination. Intur. In the body, I offer a short blessing now. In the quiet, may the strength that upholds be present for the night. May it steady the knees and calm the mind. May the heart find room to breathe where fear once clenched. May mercy attend each small, tired place. When this portion ends, there will be a pause long enough to let these images sink. The next passage will come with its own light. For now, rest in the steady thought that you are upheld. Let that thought be the last soft thing you keep when your eyes close. Breathe. Sleep if it comes. If wakefulness stays. Return to the gentle practices and let the promise of upholding do its quiet work. Shiyi. New Beginnings Lamentations 3:2-23. The room is still before dawn. The lamp keeps its soft circle. I feel the cool of the air at the window. I think of the scripture I will read tonight. It speaks of mercy that does not end. It speaks of compassion renewed each morning. I open the Bible slowly. My thumb marks the page. The words are brief. They come like first light. I read them in a low voice. I let the lines land one at a time. The phrase that matters tonight is simple mercy in the morning. I let the idea rest in the space between my breaths. Picture a horizon that changes color gently. The black softens to a gray. Gray becomes a faint amber. The slow brightening is not loud. It is steady. It does not hurry. It does not require proof. It comes again. It comes because it is part of the shape of the world. Breathe with me. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold 1 small beat. Exhale for 5. Let each out-breath be longer than the in. The practice is slow. The slow breathing opens a little more room in the chest. Each exhale lets a small weight go. The promise of new mercy asks only for attention. It asks that the night be acknowledged, and then that the gaze turn toward dawn. The pages I hold do not deny hard things. They do not pretend that sorrow dissolves at sunrise. They say instead that mercy also comes, and that mercy arrives again and again. Imagine waking after a long night. The body is weary. The mind still hums with the day's echoes. A hand reaches across the bed with a small bowl of water and a towel. The hand is steady. The water cools. The towel feels like a soft permission. That ordinary care is a picture of the morning's mercy. It is close. It does not fix everything. It simply tends. I name one small regret gently. I hold it for a breath. I put it into the palms of imagination. Then I look up toward the light at the window and imagine the light touching that small thing. The light does not erase the memory. It changes how the memory sits in me. The edge softens. Tonight, I invite a tiny ritual. On a small slip of paper, write one hope for the coming day. Keep the line short. Fold the paper and tuck it under a smooth stone or a small object by the lamp. The act is simple. It trains the hands to set a gentle intention. It teaches the mind that beginnings can be arranged with care. I read another line that names steadfast love. The language is not abstract. It is like a steady beat. The phrase repeats that kindness keeps coming. It is not dependent on performance. It does not arrive only after success. It meets the tired, the faltering, the slow. Let the mind rest on that patience. Let the heart unclench enough to receive. There is mercy for the mornings of the heart as well. When shame arrives at dawn, when guilt is loud, the page offers a softer script. It suggests that new mercies are not a reward. They are a gift. Accepting a gift does not require a long defense. It only asks an open hand. Practice a short breathing prayer. Now, breathe in and think simply mercies. Breathe out and think new this morning. Repeat 3 times. The mind can follow the rhythm without needing to explain. The repetition trains the heart toward receiving rather than earning. The sunrise image grows. Birds begin to call. The air shifts from cool to mild. Each small sound is ordinary and kind. The world's steady routine becomes a teacher. Seeing morning come teaches how to trust return. A stream spills into a dry place. The small flow refreshes stones. So small refreshers multiply. I speak a short, hushed blessing. May the morning bring small mercies. May the day hold more than yesterday did. May compassion meet every blunt edge. The blessing is not loud. It is a warm word placed like a hand on a shoulder. If fear of tomorrow presses, let it be named in one soft phrase. Place the phrase on the nightstand with the folded paper of hope. Do not try to solve it now. Allow the space between tonight and morning to do its quiet work. Darkness yields to light in its own time. So do some answers. I read again the central line. Mercy is new each morning. Great is the faithfulness. The repetition helps. The mouth remembers the cadence. The mind learns the feel of steadiness. Each rereading softens a grip on the past. Slowly, let gratitude come into the practice. Name one small, specific kindness from the day. It may be a meal that warmed the hand. It may be a word that surprised with gentleness. Hold the memory for a breath. Gratitude is not a denial of pain. It is a balancing weight that lets mercy be visible. Before this part closes, I invite a short imagining exercise. Picture the coming dawn, not as a demand to be ready, but as an offering. The day hands a small, fresh mercy across the threshold. Receive it as you would a warm cup. Hold it close. Let it cool as you decide your steps. Begin with a gentle movement, not a large leap. I mark the page with my thumb. The Bible rests warm under my hand. The lamp keeps its pool of light. The mind is softer than when this part began. The thought of fresh mercy is not a magic trick. It is a steady, patient promise that repeats itself. The next section will continue the slow walk. For now, hold the image of dawn and the small mercies it brings. Breathe in mercy. Breathe out thanks. Keep the hope folded on the nightstand and let the hush last. Sha'ah, God, as companion presence in the quiet. I pick up the book again. The room stays quiet. My voice lowers further. Tonight I speak about God as companion. The idea is simple. Presence matters more than answers sometimes. Presence is a hand beside you on the bed. Presence is a calm breath taken together. The pages show a God who walks near, notre distant motion, not only a distant command, a steady companion. The text pictures walking side by side at dusk. The steps fit one pace. The sky thickens, and a lantern is passed between hands. That passing is intimate and small. Breathe with me. Inhale 3 counts. Exhale 5 as the breath slows. Imagine a steady presence at your shoulder. It does not crowd. It does not speak too much. It keeps pace and offers a small lantern when needed. The lantern's light is narrow and faithful. It shows the next step. It does not reveal the whole road. Companionship changes what it feels like to be afraid. The fear does not vanish. It shrinks its shadow by half, because someone stays near. The hush in the room deepens into a shared stillness. In that stillness, mercy works quietly. Put a hand on the lap. Feel that warmth. Imagine another hand there, steadying the first. The small physical image helps. The body recognizes touch more quickly than thought. Let that imagined touch be plain and kind. No fanfare. No pressure, just steady contact. The text gives gentle instructions for living with a companion heart. It invites listening more than proving. It teaches that questions can be offered as whispers. The companion does not require a robust case. It welcomes the fragile voice and answers with a calm that steadies rather than shouts. Try a simple listening exercise with the eyes closed. Turn attention inward and notice the first small sound that arises. It may be a creak in the house. It may be a soft memory. Acknowledge it, and then picture the companion's presence nearby. Let the presence contain the small sound without trying to fix its cause. Allow holding to be enough for a while. There is kindness in a companion who remembers. When sleepless nights repeat, the companion does not treat you as if this is a failure. It remembers the pattern and sits longer. That remembering is mercy. It is not judgment. It is a patience that repeats the offer of a hand. I read a brief line that comforts God is near to the broken-hearted. The line is not a cure-all. It is an invitation to a bedside presence. Think of someone who stays when tears come. They do not need to solve the sorrow. Their staying changes it. Their presence makes the pain less solitary. Make a small practice out of this staying. Before sleep, name one thing that aches. Say it inwardly, and imagine the companion's hand receiving that thing. Picture the hand, not as distant but warm. Watch how the body shifts a degree toward calm. Practice this handing over without rushing the healing. The companion also teaches simple acts of care. It shows how to fold a blanket, how to pour a cup of warm drink, how to lower the lamp an inch. These tiny acts repeat mercy in practical ways. Let the hands perform them tonight. Let the body learn what care feels like in motion. If questions about meaning press in the night, do not feel obliged to solve them now. Sit with the question, like one would sit with a friend who cannot answer. Offer the question quietly. Allow the companion to sit with you in the not knowing. The shared presence is a form of understanding. I breathed and read a short passage about rest in presence. Rest is not merely sleep. It is a posture. It is a choice to allow someone else to hold the weight for a time. The posture is humble and brave at once. Let the chest soften into that posture. Let the shoulders lower. Let the jaw unclench. Offer a brief, silent prayer of simple words. Ask for presence that does not demand performance. Thank for a companion who keeps watch. The prayer is short and honest. It is a small exchange at a bedside table. Before this section closes, imagine tying a ribbon around a small object by the lamp. Let the ribbon stand for the promise of companionship. When the night presses, touch the ribbon and remember the steady presence. The act is small and concrete. It makes an abstract help tangible. I close the Bible gently and keep my thumb at the page. The lamp hums low. The room holds a shared hush that stretches toward morning. The companion's presence is not a remedy for all things. It is a steadying truth. Let it be the last small thing you hold before you rest. Breathe in the presence. Breathe out into the trust that you do not keep watch alone. The pause that follows is a gentle keeping. The next part will come with more light. For now, rest in company and mercy. Sha'ah, promise of renewal. Isaiah 40:3-1. The lamp is low. The room keeps its hush. The Bible rests open in my lap, warm from my hand. My thumb marks the place where the page will begin. Tonight I hold a simple promise. It speaks of strength returned, It pictures a slow rising. I do not rush the sentence. The voice stays quiet and even. The lines are short and plain. They leave space for the breath between them. That space is part of the meaning. Think of waiting as a stillness that prepares. Waiting here is not a blank pause. It is a patient breathing in. It is a soft gathering of what the day loosened. The text I read invites a waiting that renews. It promises a lift where tiredness has settled. In my own life, I have felt that lift. It arrives like a tide that returns more than it took. Breathe with me. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold 1 small beat. Exhale for 5. Let the out-breath be longer than the in. The pattern slows the pulse. The slow cadence teaches the body a quieter speed. Each repetition builds calm. Picture an eagle on a windless morning. The bird does not flap frantically. It waits. A warming current rises. The eagle spreads wide and the current lifts it. The wings do what they were made to do. They ride the air without strain. That image is not lofty. It is a plain picture of using given means. Let it stand for how strength might come tonight. Strength here is gentle. It does not arrive as a hard command to keep going. It comes as a quiet renewing. Muscles that held tight begin to unbind. A tired mind loosens its grip on frantic plans. The heart learns a rhythm that keeps it steady. The promise is not a demand for sudden vigor. It is an offering of patient repair. I place a hand over my chest. The warmth under the palm feels familiar. Use your hand the same way, if that helps. Feel the slow lift and fall. With each inhale, imagine a lightness coming into the ribs. With each exhale, let something small slip away. The act is physical and simple. The body answers to gentle instruction better than to loud will. There is a season in which waiting is hard. The mind grows impatient. Questions gather in the dark. The promise speaks to that exact place. It says, waiting has a shape and a purpose. Waiting here is not empty. It is active in a quiet way. Roots grow in silence. Muscles repair in rest. The night does its own repairs when the heart will agree to let it. Picture a dry stream bed that softens after a rain. The ground that craved moisture remembers how to drink. Renewal may feel like that. It is slow at first. Then it finds a pace. Small shoots lift. A cracked surface takes on a sheen of green. Hope works in increments, not in sudden leaps. Notice how a single droplet starts a change. The steady coming of small mercies adds up. A short practice helps the waiting take shape. Close the eyes lightly. Turn attention to the feet. Breathe into them. Imagine warmth rising along the ankles. Let that warmth travel up the legs, through the hips, into the belly. Pause there. Picture a small pool of light gathering behind the sternum. Let the light widen with every out-breath. Do not force it. Allow it to swell like a slow sunrise. I press the book shut for a moment and whisper a brief, plain prayer. It is not ornate. It asks for strength that is gentle. It asks for patience that calms rather than resists. The prayer is a small offering placed into the quiet. It feels like setting a cup beside the bed. The promise I read uses wings as its metaphor. Wings suggest movement that is not only upward, they suggest steadiness through the air. Imagine being borne up by unseen currents. The body relaxes in that lift. The neck unclenches. The jaw loosens. The chest opens enough to accept what comes. Do not mistake this imagery for an avoidance of work. Renewal does not cancel responsibility. It prepares the hands to do what must be done with a steadier heart. When strength returns, the steps are less frantic. The choices come with less shaking. The eyes look forward without the mind clutching too tight. I speak of running without wearying. Running here feels like carrying hope that does not burn out. The feet do not prolong motion for pride. They keep going because the pace matches the strength given. Picture a light that spreads one small circle at a time. Each circle is enough for the step at hand. The light does not try to flood everything. It makes immediate movement sure. A practice to carry into the night. Choose one small thing to do when you wake. Not a list. One small, steady act that brings order. Maybe a glass of water by the bedside. Maybe stepping onto the floor with both feet planted for a breath. The chosen act is a tiny promise to yourself and a rehearsal of the renewing power you have invited. Habits are a kind of scaffolding that steady the spirit. There will be nights when the promise looks distant. The wind of worry may bruise the skin. When that happens, name a single worry and place it in the palms of imagination. Picture the worry being set on a stone at the roadside. Imagine a hand steady, kind picking it up and carrying it onward. The hand is the promise in motion. The act is small and concrete, and therefore believable. Mercy is woven through this renewal. Renewal sometimes looks like forgiveness given to oneself. It looks like letting go of the lecture that plays in the head. It looks like receiving care rather than proving worth through productivity. Mercy arrives not as an abstract idea, but as a relief in the shoulders. It is a sensation, less tension, more space. I invite a quiet naming of one small regret. Say it inwardly and then, without argument, set it down. At the bedside, make one small act of comfort. Smooth the blanket. Sip water. Linger a moment at the window. These small actions teach the nervous system what mercy feels like. Or a team. The body begins to accept the renewal as real. The promise of renewed strength also reaches into the shape of courage. Courage here is soft. It is a willingness to try again without the blaze of perfection. It is the decision to stand when the knees feel weak. Imagine a slow rising from a low seat. The motion is careful. The muscles complain. Then they steady. The rising is not dramatic. It is faithful. If sleep comes, let it take the offering of this promise. Allow the night to do its repair. If wakefulness remains, return to the breath and the image of wings riding a patient current. Repeat the breathing pattern. Let patience become a companion for the mind. Small repetitions teach the body a new grammar. I mark the page with my thumb and pause. The Bible sits warm and expectant. The lamp spreads its small circle of gold. In a moment, the reading will continue. The next section will move toward a different promise. It will speak of love that overflows. The words to come are tender in their own way. For now, hold this thought. Strength returns. when waiting is surrendered to steady care. The promise is gentle. It is not loud. It lands in the bones and teaches them a new ease. The night does not have to be fought. It can be a season of rising. A short blessing closes this portion. May the waiting you carry be a place of renewal. May small mercies find the cracks and widen them. May wings be given where the body feels too heavy. May hope draw breath and ready you to rise. The blessing is quiet and sure. I lay the Bible closed across my knee. My thumb keeps the place. The lamp breathes its steady glow. The room is still. When the voice begins again, it will speak of love. That love pours out in ways that soften hard edges and make room for the heart. Rest now with the thought of rising tomorrow. The night keeps its gentle work. The promise of renewal waits. I set the Bible on my knee and let the room settle around the low light. My voice is quiet. My hands feel the familiar weight of the pages. Tonight, I turn toward a line about love. The line is not loud. It is steady and simple. Love begins with patience. I say the word and let it breathe. Patience here looks like a slow hand that does not snatch. It waits at the edge of a worry and allows the worry to speak. In the dark, patience feels like a long exhale. It lengthens the body, a fraction. Muscles forget to pull themselves tight. I read about kindness next. Kindness is small and near. It is an offered cup. It is a blanket folded with care. I picture tiny hands smoothing a pillow. The image is ordinary and true when kindness moves. The evening shifts. The small acts are enough. Forgiveness follows. Forgiveness is not loud absolution. It is a soft untying. I imagine a knot in a string. The knot has pulled the fabric together for a long time. Forgiveness is the gentle work of loosening thread. It does not pretend the tear never happened. It mends. It makes the garment wearable again. Truth is quiet and clear. It is not sharp like a blade. It is more like a clean window. When truth comes, the fog lifts from the mind. The next step shows itself. Truth and kindness walk together. They do not fight. They make the small room of the heart brighter. These words about love do not demand perfection. They do not list a set of requirements. They describe a way of living that is gentle. I read them slowly. I leave space between phrases. The pause is part of the meaning. I invite a breathing practice to match the lines. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold 1 soft beat. Exhale for 6 counts. Lengthen the out-breath until the shoulders drop a degree. Repeat. The rhythm is a small teacher. It trains the body to accept patience as an actual posture, not only a thought. Think now of patience as a steady bench at the side of the road. People come. People go. Some stay a little while. The bench does not judge who sits. It simply holds. That bench is the way I picture God's love working into the tired places. It offers an invitation to rest without interrogation. Kindness shows in uncomplicated gestures. A warm plate placed near the bedside. A light footstep across a creaky floor. A voice that says one small, true sentence and then stops talking. Turn the mind toward the simplest kindness you gave or received today. Place it gently in the palm of thought. Let it warm there a moment. Forgiveness asks for a small ceremony. If a memory presses that still stings, name it softly. Do not argue. Say the name once. Imagine that memory resting on a small stone. Carry the stone in the imagination to the shore and lay it in the shallows. Watch the water fold around it. The memory does not vanish, but the water makes it less sharp. That seeing is mercy. Truth can be practiced in the evening with tiny honesty. When fear shapes a large narrative, pull a single thread. Say one small fact to yourself that feels firm. Speak it in the heart. Let that one clear line undo the knots of the larger worry. Truth need not be grand to be freeing. The passages I read make clear that love works slowly. It is patient where the clock is not. It is kind when the mind wants to scold. It forgives where shame has been loud. It speaks truth into tangled thoughts. Love repairs with hands that are tender and sure. I suggest a small exercise in living these lines. Choose one tiny task you can do before sleep that shows love in action. It might be leaving a glass of water by the bed for the person who stirs in the night. It could be smoothing the blanket at the foot of the bed. It could be a short note folded and left on a pillow. These acts teach the fingers and the heart how to practice love. Repetition forms a bit. Habit becomes a steady pattern that steers the day. When anger sits up in the chest like a small guard, do not try to shove it away. Invite it into the light. Name the anger, and then ask what small kindness might soothe it. Sometimes kindness to oneself is first. Bring water. Adjust a cushion. Speak to the chest you are permitted to be tired. Permission is a form of mercy. I read now of how love bears with weakness. It does not tally faults. It keeps the company of the fragile and the failing. Picture a hand that eases sore places with cool cloth. The hand is not indifferent. It is steady. It knows how to tend, without poking and without hurry. There is an ease to forgiveness that I have learned over many nights. Forgiveness is rarely a single dramatic moment. It is a series of small choices. I choose once not to rehearse a hurt. I choose again to respond with a calm tone. The choices accumulate like bricks. Walls of bitterness slowly come down. The building that remains is simpler and less burdened. Truth, when practiced kindly, becomes a guide. It points at what is real without making a spectacle of faults. It says, "This is so. Let us see it together, and then decide the next small step." This way of speaking trains relationship muscles. It steadies a chest that might otherwise batter at doors. I read aloud a simple passage that describes love's persistence. The wording is soft. It lists acts, rather than lecturing, on doctrine. It moves me toward doing rather than arguing. My voice is low. A companion for the ear that wishes to sleep. The rhythm of the reading is slow. The silence between lines is long enough for your mind to catch its breath. Practice, drawing an internal picture of love, as a lantern that follows a slow walker. The lantern does not drag the walker faster. It simply keeps the ground clear in front of each step. Let the image be an echo when decisions feel scattered. One step at a time under gentle light is enough. if regret plagues the night. Make a small liturgy. Hold your hands over the heart. Breathe in slowly. On the out-breath, imagine placing the regret into the hands of the lantern bearer. See those hands take the weight and hold it without flinching. The ritual is short. It is concrete. It asks the body to cooperate with the will to let go. Kindness outward changes the quiet as well. Turn an ear towards someone else's need. It need not be a large service. It may be giving a towel, sharing a blanket, or listening without an agenda. Small kindnesses ripple. They change the feel of an evening and teach a weary heart that it can both receive and give. I keep the language plain because these practices are not complex. They are doable in low light and small energy. The reading tonight is oriented to ordinary mercy. It seeks to make the domestic landscape holy. A cup warmed, a pillow fluffed, a soft acknowledgement of a fear. These are the building blocks of love. Mercy sits at the center of these acts. Mercy meets guilt with hands that clean. It meets sorrow with a voice that does not hurry. Mercy is not a hurried fix. It is an abiding presence. I imagine a basin of warm water set at the bedside and hands that know how to wash. Mercy knows how to mend. I pause here with a short prayer in the hush. The prayer is not ornate. It is a single request to be taught gentleness. It asks for patience to be a practice, kindness to be habitual, forgiveness to be habitual, and truth to be gentle. The prayer feels like setting a small lamp on the table and letting it glow without demanding proof. Before this section closes, I invite you to one final small act. Think of one person you can show kindness to tomorrow. Picture a single simple thing to do for them. Keep that image in the mind like a small pebble. Let it be a promise offered in sleep. The promise is gentle. It trains the will toward love in the day ahead. I place my thumb at the page and close the book, just so that the edges of the paper breathe. The lamp keeps its quiet light. The breath slows a little more. The heart feels wider by a fraction. Love's lessons do not solve everything tonight. They do. However, set a hand on the next step. When I begin again, I will turn to a different promise. I will read words that speak of trusting a plan beyond my sight. A familiar line will remind us that there is a path laid out for tomorrow. For now, rest with the sense that patience, kindness, forgiveness, and truth have a steady work to do in the dark. Let those small practices take root. Let mercy fill the small spaces between worries. Keep breathing. Keep holding the image of the lantern that walks with you. When sleep comes, let it carry these simple teachings into dreams. When you wake, set the pebble of kindness in your pocket and let it guide the first small step. The next part waits, gentle and sure, and will be read when the lamp is raised again. Chasseur. Hope for tomorrow, trusting his good plan. The Bible rests gently on my knee. The pages are warm from turning. I breathe in and let the room settle. Tonight, I lift a line that leans toward tomorrow. It promises that the days ahead hold purpose. It tells of plans that ask for trust. I read slowly. My voice is low and steady. The sentence settles into the air like a soft bell. It says plans for welfare, not for harm. It says hope and a future. I do not argue the meaning. I let the idea rest beside the breath. Picture a small garden in early spring. Seeds sit in a palm. The soil is cool and willing. The act of planting is quiet. It is not dramatic. It is an ordinary trust. The seed does not know the final form. It only knows the immediate need, earth and water and light. The image is simple. It fits the mood of the night. Breathe with me. Inhale slowly for 3 counts. Hold 1 beat. Exhale for 5. Each out-breath loosens a muscle. Each pause makes room for the next soft thought. The rhythm teaches a patient waiting. It teaches a trust that is not frantic. The passages I hold tonight do not erase uncertainty. They name it and fold it into a bigger story. They speak of a future that is being shaped even when sight is thin. The voice in the text is not hurried. It says that what comes next grows from steady care. That steadiness is what I want to pass along. Think of the promise as a map drawn by a kind hand. The map does not reveal every cliff. It shows safe paths and gentle rivers. It points toward places where shelter waits. The map asks the traveler to follow 1 step at a time. The traveler need not know every curve. Only the next small step matters now. A gentle practice helps this trust take root. Take a small scrap of paper. Write 1 hope for tomorrow. Keep it brief. Fold it once and tuck it beside the lamp. The act is small and concrete. It teaches the hands to make an offering to the future. The mind relaxes when intention has a place on the nightstand. The text also speaks of fidelity. It shows a pattern of keeping promises. That fidelity is not measured only in bright victories. It is visible in small returns. Morning arrives. Mercies appear again. The repetition is reassuring. It trains the heart to expect renewal. If worry whispers about plans gone wrong, do not follow it into a long argument. Name 1 fear in a single, soft phrase. Place that phrase on the paper beside the hope. The closeness of both objects on the nightstand creates balance. 1 thing is given over. 1 thing is invited. The pairing calms the busy mind. I suggest an image for the chest. Imagine a river that carries small boats. Each boat has a purpose. Some travel fast. Some drift slowly. The river knows the route. The current is steady beneath the surface. The voyager is not alone. The craft does not control the whole course. It keeps its little role. Resting into that fact changes posture. Plans for the future often feel heavy in the dark. They can tremble like lamps in wind. The reading tonight offers a different posture. It invites arranging small steps instead of holding the whole horizon. Choose 1 tiny thing for tomorrow. It could be a cup of tea made in the morning. It could be laying out 1 garment. It could be a 5-minute walk at sunrise. Small acts give the body pattern. Patterns tame anxiety. A short, silent prayer reason now. Plain and spare. Thank you for plans that hold care. Help the heart to trust small steps. Keep the mind from racing through endless scenarios. Amen. The prayer is a soft closing of the day. Nothing ornate, nothing loud. The promise of a prosperous future is not about wealth or banners. It is about flourishing where we are planted. The words point toward wholeness. They imagine a life mended in small ways. They imagine the habit of small kindnesses. Think of prosperity as soil that supports growth, not as a shine that hides cracks. The metaphor keeps expectations modest and gentle. A practice of gratitude helps the mind see the slow work. Name 3 small goods from this day. A warm greeting, a task completed, a sheltering roof. Hold each for a breath. Let gratitude be a soft counterweight to worry. It trains the chest to tilt toward hope. The passages I read also remind me that plans are given with freedom. They respect the human heart. They do not force. The tone is an invitation more than a command. Faith here feels like a hand offered across a table. It takes what is given and transforms it gently. That thought comforts the mind that resists heavy instruction. If regret presses tonight, I do not try to erase it. Instead, I name it and hand it over. Place the regret in imagination into a small bowl. Add a warm water image. Let the water soften the edges. The scene is domestic. It is near and kind. Mercy works through ordinary acts as much as through grand declarations. Forward-looking trust does not cancel careful planning. It simply changes the heart behind the planning. Prepare with humility. Make lists with softness. Do tomorrow's work without letting it swallow the night. The pages encourage practical prudence alongside patient hope. I read another brief line that anchors this hope. Future days will carry growth. The language is steady. It does not promise quick fixes. It promises faithful beginnings. Imagine a slow sprout waking beneath the soil. The sprout does not shout its arrival. It only keeps rising. Let that modest image be the way the heart learns to expect tomorrow. A ritual for the bedside can aid the work. Place a small stone near the hope paper. Touch it when worry returns. The stone grounds the hand. The tactile act breaks the loop of anxious imagining. Repetition of this simple motion trains the nervous system to move from agitation toward calm. The reading also speaks of community in plans. Futures are rarely solitary. They grow in shared fields. Think of neighbors trading tools. Think of hands passing a seed packet across a fence. The imagery reminds that hope often requires others. Invite one small help tomorrow. A short call. A message. A question asked. Shared burdens shrink the distance to trust. If sleep delays, return to the breath. Inhale gently. Exhale longer and softer. Picture the future as a path lit by many small lamps. Each lamp shows only one step. The procession of lamps is enough. The heart learns to follow a lit path and not to demand floodlights for the entire journey. The text I read tonight ends with a quiet assurance. Plans for me are hopeful, not harmful. That line rests in my chest. It does not erase every fear. It changes the angle from which I face them. I am invited to trust. I am invited to play my small part. The future becomes a shared project rather than a lonely cliff to climb. I breathe one more time and make a small vow. Do one thing tomorrow that nurtures life. It can be tiny. A glass of water, a short conversation, a moment to look out the window and name one good thing. These small choices train the muscles of hope. Now I fold the page gently and set my thumb to mark the place. The lamp keeps its low circle of light. The paper of hope rests on the nightstand beside a smooth stone. The ritual is simple and practical. The quiet in the room deepens. As I settle back, I let the thoughts sink in. The plans given for me are hopeful, not harmful. As I rest, I trust in his vision for a prosperous future. I settle deeper into the chair. The lamp makes a small, warm pool on the table. The Bible rests open where my thumb keeps the place. Tonight I hold the final passage for this series. I read the pages to you before sleep. I have done this each night. I keep the voice slow and soft. The room stays quiet. I let each word land. I read not to instruct, but to companion. The book is a steady presence. My reading shapes the hush. Listen as I begin. The lines I read speak of a light that finds its way into dim places. The image is simple. A single filament of light threads through a dark net. It reaches into corners where fears hide. It warms what has been cold. Let that warming move slowly across the shoulders. Breathe with me in a gentle way. Breathe in slowly, without counting. Hold the breath as a gentle pause. Breathe out twice as slowly. Let the out-breath be long enough to relax the face. Do this without forcing. Let the rhythm find you rather than chasing it. Tonight I ask your imagination to do a small thing. Picture a narrow corridor. The walls are soft with shadow. A thin cord of light runs along the floor. It is low and safe. It does not glare. It only marks the way. Walk in your mind until your feet find that band of light. Follow it one slow step at a time. The step you take is enough. The passages I read now talk about keeping watch. The keeping is not loud. It is regular and calm. A hand stays near the pillow. A steady presence breathes beside the sleeper. That presence offers rest, not a long list of answers. It steadies by simply being there. Let that thought move into the chest. Place a hand lightly over the sternum. Feel the rise and fall. Let the hand be a reminder that something unseen keeps close. Imagine the light I read about passing up through the palm and into the ribs. Let a warm, small bloom of peace live where the hand rests. I read of tenderness that comes quietly. It is like someone closing a door without a sudden slam. It is careful and unobtrusive. This tenderness meets small failures with a soft touch. It knows how to mend where fabric has frayed. See that mending in your mind, patient fingers weaving thread back into cloth. The seam stays. The tear stops catching. If a thought slips toward regrets, do not fight it harshly. Name it in a sentence no longer than a breath. Put the sentence on the bedside in your imagination and close the lid. That small act is not forgetting. It is a temporary setting aside. You will open the lid when new strength comes. For now, allow the lid to stay closed. I keep reading. The words speak of shelter. Imagine a small room with a low window. Rain may tap the panes. The room itself is dry. A blanket lies folded at the foot of the bed. The shelter is ordinary and honest. It offers a calm place to rest the limbs of the day. Let that calm reach the hands. Try a gentle body check now. Start at the base of the skull. Let the neck soften. Let the jaw slack slightly. Move the attention to the shoulders. Release the parts that hold on to tension. Allow the arms to drape easily. Let the hands become loose in the lap or at your sides. The body remembers how to relax when it is guided in small steps. The Bible I read to you tonight invites short prayers that are more like breaths. They are small and direct. You do not need many words. A single phrase said inside is enough a request. A thank you. A handing over. Speak it quietly in your mind. Then let the silence hold it. I speak of hope as a lantern passed forward. Hope is not always ablaze. Sometimes it is a modest glow that lights the next few yards. Imagine receiving such a lantern at your side. Feel the rim of its warmth. The flame does not demand you see the destination. It only asks you to keep walking. One steady pace at a time. There is comfort in ordinary rituals before sleep. Do one is more. Repetitive act that belongs to you. Smooth the blanket one more time. Place a cool glass near the bed. Straighten the pillow. These tiny motions send a clear message to the body. The world is being arranged for rest. The muscles respond. The mind relaxes. I read words that remind me not to carry the whole future on the head. The future often comes in pieces. A day arrives, then another. Each morning offers a clean, small sheet of time. Think of tomorrow as a gentle page to turn. For now, keep the current page. Let tomorrow wait with its soft possibilities. If sleep feels distant, use the attention to hold a calm image. See a lamp on a small table. See nothing else. Focus on the lamp's steady light and the slow, even breathing that matches it. Let thoughts that wander come near the lamp and then pass by. They do not get invited in for a long stay. I pause in my reading and offer a hush. The silence is part of the practice. It holds the words like soft cloth. The break allows the lines to seep deeper. Let the quiet be as important as the reading. In the quiet, small changes happen. Now, imagine a small book kept at the bedside. On the first page is a single word of gratitude. It could be the taste of warm tea. It could be a hand given in help. It could be a small laugh. Choose one small gratitude and keep it on the first page. The next morning, open that page and read the single word again. The act builds a pattern of noticing. The passages I read also remind me that mercy stays near the smallest failures. Mercy is not only for the grand mistakes. It reaches into the tiny errors of a day, a word said too quickly, a patience lost. Picture mercy arriving like a warm washcloth. It sits on the brow. It cools the heat of remorse. Allow yourself that small tending. If the room grows still and the mind grows loud, return to the breath. Breathe in fully without strain. Let the out-breath be a quiet release. Imagine the breath drawing a narrow shaft of light down the spine. With each out-breath, the light moves farther. Let the light reach the hips, the knees, the feet. Let it rest there for a moment. I hold the Bible in both hands for a breath. The paper feels warm. The spine is familiar. My reading tonight is the last of these sessions. That thought comes with a small bitter sweetness. The rhythm of these evenings has been a companion. I feel grateful for the trust that kept us in these slow hours. Before I close the book, I speak a brief, plain blessing. I ask that the light you have received tonight sit over the heart. I ask that rest find the bones. I ask that the coming day bring small openings rather than large demands. The blessing is short. It is an offering tied to the quiet. I will suggest one tiny practice to carry into the night. Find a small token, an old button, a smooth coin, a tiny scrap of cloth. Keep it on the bedside. When a worry visits, touch the token and imagine passing the worry into a wider keeping. The tactile motion is small and real. It helps the body accept what the mind offers. The voice in the pages I read promises presence more than proofs. Presence holds even when reasons fail. It keeps the dark company without needing to banish it. Let that presence be what you feel now. Let it be like a warm hand laid gently on the back of the neck. If waking returns before dawn, do not speak harshly to yourself. Stay soft. Name the waking thought in one phrase. Place it on the imagined table beside the lamp. Breathe. Return to the light. The night will still be steady and patient. I close the Bible slowly. The cover clicks with a soft sound. My thumb keeps the actual page for a moment more. The lamp still gives a safe, low light. I let the room keep its hush a little longer. I do not rush the end. Before the final hush, I offer one last invitation. Picture God's light as a thin strand woven through your day. It is small but unbroken. Tonight, weave your last thought into that strand. Make it a word of hope. Make it a small thanks. Tie the thought into the thread and let the strand hold it through the night. My voice softens further. The final blessing rises as a quiet breath. May the light you received tonight fill even the tiny hollows. May it travel down the spine and into the hands. May it make sleep feasible and gentle. May the morning bring a steady smallness of hope. Enough for one good step. I stand for a moment and dim the lamp one notch. The circle of gold grows softer. The house keeps it slow. Ordinary sounds. The Bible rests closed now. Near my hand, the last line I read settles like a small stone placed in a quiet pond. Ripples go outward slowly and then calm. This is the close of the series. I say thank you for the shared hush. I am grateful to have read to you. The rhythm of these evenings has been a gift I will carry. For tonight, let the quiet do its work. Let the small thread of light stay in the chest. Sleep if it comes. If it does not, keep the light with you as you pass through the dark. Good night. Rest in the light. Tomorrow waits with gentle hope.